In this 10-minute video, we are going to go through the best back stretches ever, and this is low back edition. So these are just some of my absolute favorite ways to open up and stretch our low back. The first pose that we are going to come into is in a reclined position. This is known as a really good piriformis muscle stretch, but it's a fabulous way to open up the low back, the sacrum. We're going to start with our feet nice and flat. And what I want you to do is lift your hips and just tuck your pelvis just slightly. And then take your left ankle and cross it over the right. So our goal here is to keep our hips nice and level. We're going to take our right hand to the front point of our pelvis, left hand to the inner thigh, and just push just gently until you find your edge. And I like to think of the edge as being maybe 5 out of 10 in terms of effort. Really good body awareness here as well. So notice where the sensation of the stretch is. Do you feel it more in the external hip? Some people will feel it more in the groin and the front pocket space. Take a deep breath, and then we're going to thread the needle. So reaching through either for the hamstring, or if you can get to the shin, then that's a great place to be. Take one deep breath. And then release. Good job. Uncross. Give it a little rock out side to side, and then we will do the opposite. So now it'll be right ankle across. Again, nice and level across the pelvis. Your low back should stay nice and connected and supported through the floor. Left hand to the hip, right hand to the inner knee or inner thigh, and just gently press. And really, the reason the hand stays to the front of the pelvis is just to keep this connection, brain-body, helps us really make sure the pelvis stays as level as we're able to maintain it. One more breath, and then we will thread the needle. So reaching through, again, options are to the hamstring or to the shin. Breathe. Try not to send the stress into your neck. Relax your jaw, relax your shoulders. Good job. And then release, uncross, and just take a couple little gentle windshield wipers side to side. So another really good mindful exercise here that I like people to practice is a pelvic tilt from the position of being nice and comfortable here. So knees are bent, feet are flat. Okay, you're going to practice just creating a little bit of lift through the low back. Some of you will feel that quite naturally, that curve of your lumbar spine. We're going to do a pelvic tilt. So hands to the belly, tuck your tailbone, ground your lumbar into the floor, and then release. Opposite. It's like little baby cat-cows almost. They're really just pelvic tilts. It's good to practice the feeling of grounding the lumbar and neutralizing your spine. The other thing to notice here, notice as we come into this tilt, our belly is more naturally engaged. Pull your belly in, press your low back into the floor. Feel that gentle tuck of your sit bones. Release, we'll just do one more time. Tuck and release. Good job. We're going to come up to a seated position, please. Now, I understand that lots of times when we're dealing with low back issues, seated isn't the absolute most comfortable position to be in. But what we're going to do, rather than being crossed or feeling crunched up in any way, I want you to take your ankles out in front of you and just touch your heels together. So get very aware of where the pelvic bowl is. And remember, the pelvic bowl includes our sit bones. That's what we feel on the mat. The front points of our hips, the tailbone behind us, the pubic bone in the front. And we want that to be in a nice, neutral, stacked position as best we can. So what that might mean is for you to sit tall, you might need your feet to be farther. As you progress, you'll be able to bring your feet closer in, okay? But just sit tall, diamond shape, like I said, through the legs, and we're just gonna round our back. So just let yourself be heavy here. Let your upper back round, hollowness through the front side. You can slide your heels away if you need a little more space. Let your head go as well. So you're welcome to just totally disengage and let your body get heavy. And then try to keep your focus on that sacrum. So your low back, the broadening across the very low back region. It's the lowest section of our spine. And our goal here is to try to allow the muscles to gently move away from the spine and gently move away from the pelvis. And so this is a really good place to be as an alternative to child's pose if you have knee issues, or as we're using it this morning or this afternoon, it's a warm up to child's pose. Let's take one more moment. And then bring yourself back up. Stack yourself really nice and tall here. Good job. As I mentioned, child's pose. That's where we're coming to from here. So coming onto hands and knees. And my favorite variation is to take the big toes together, knees nice and wide. Sit your hips to your heels to begin with, and then bring your forehead down. And you could just stack your hands if you prefer. Remember, our focus is on the low back, so really do whatever feels best for that area. If the floor is too far away, the goal is to lift the floor towards your forehead so that you're able to keep your hips nice and open and nice and low towards your heels. Just breathe. Try to visualize your breath in the back side of your body. So as we're breathing here, I'm imagining I'm breathing behind my heart. So fill up all that space in the backside of your lungs. Let the front side of your body be nice and relaxed. So your belly, your jaw, your cheeks, let it all sort of fall towards the mat. And take one more deep breath. Good job. And then gently, let's bring ourselves to hands and knees. So coming into our nice strong table position. So your hands are directly underneath of the shoulders. Stack your wrists, your elbows, and your shoulders in a nice tall line here. Tops of the feet to the floor to begin with. And we're going to drop our belly, look forward, come to cow. And then as you exhale, round your spine. So tuck your pelvis, tuck your chin, push away from the ground. Cat. Keep going. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. And as we're doing this with focus on our back, I want you just to really, as you go through, try to feel the difference. Feel the transition between the two poses. The destination of the end pose is not really the goal. Our goal is to get our spine moving in all directions. Really lift up through your sit bones and then really tuck your pelvis under. So see, it's all connected together. Being able to move the pelvis, being able to find a nice neutral spine allows us to stretch across this low back region and just get as much movement and suppleness as we can through the area. Good job. Nice neutral spine. Beautiful. We're going to come to a seated position. So we're going to go through a seated twist. Now, I always like to have you be very mindful about the seated twist option. Because we're upright, there's a little more pressure, a little more heaviness, and I want you to be able to sit as tall and as light as possible. If you really find that seated twists cause discomfort in terms of pain in your body, then I want you to take it down to a reclined level and only try to twist when your back is stabilized through the mat. I would suggest if you feel a lot of pain, there could be something structurally going on with the spine. So we just really don't want to push beyond it. Recognize and know the biggest gift you can give yourself. Know the difference between tension and pain. Okay. So pain is generally nerve related. It's like a grab, it's a pinch, it's a shot. Almost feels like a little bit of electrocution. That's usually nerve pain, which is associated with something that's more structural. Okay. Tightness and tension is when your range of motion just doesn't seem to be there, or like finding the connection as I'm talking you through some of the poses. Maybe that energy connection feels not quite there. That is more related to muscles. Okay, so understand and just try to know the difference between the two. Okay, sit tall. We're going to twist just gently towards the left. So right hand across, left hand to the floor behind you, and lengthen through the top of your head. So keep your gaze forward for a moment. As this feels okay, you're going to turn with your eyes maybe towards the side, maybe all the way towards the back shoulder, but never collapsing towards the back. So stay lifted. I like to imagine I'm twisting my rib cage around the spine. Next breath in, sit as tall as you can. And then as we exhale, eyes are going to come to the front first, shoulders, hands, and then your low back. Rock and roll it out. If it's comfortable for you to switch your cross, let's switch our cross. That's just a good way to put a little different pressure onto the hips, onto the pelvis, which is so connected to our low back. Sit tall, opposite way. So bring your left hand across, right hand behind, lengthen tall. If this feels okay, then take your upper spine into the rotation as well. So start to twist and maybe look over the back shoulder. Certainly breathe. If you can breathe into your belly, I know it's a strange feeling when we're all contracted into this twist, but just send your air all the way into the front side of your body. Unwind by bringing your gaze forward, your shoulders, your hands, and ultimately your hips. Good job. We're going to finish off in a reclined position again, okay? So coming down onto our back. Nice. Taking both feet flat and then just allowing the left knee to drop open for a half reclined butterfly. Okay, this is great for our hip flexors, which are so tied into the low back. Any tension that we feel through the hips or through that lumbar curve is often because these hip flexors are pulling our spine into an unnatural position. Take a deep breath. Draw your knee back to center. Try the opposite side for a moment, so let your right knee fall open. Again, hands to the abdomen is a great idea here, just to keep everything nice and connected. Brain-body connection, so important through yoga. Good job. One more breath. Relax your leg as best as you can. Come back to the center. We're going to finish off by drawing our knees in towards our chest. Seems like such a basic movement, and really it is, but it's very effective. I want you just to take yourself side to side here. So notice the upper body staying nice and connected to the floor, really nice and neutral, grounded, if you will, through the shoulders, through the thoracic spine, the head. So with your knees, hands to knees, take your legs just a little farther away from your body and draw some big circles. And the biggest thing here is our brain wants us to notice where we're touching. Touch is sort of our number one sense that we go to. So switch your focus. Try to focus on how this feels through your low back. So really practice visualizing and feeling the movement and switch directions of that sacrum. Good. Okay, so now knees independent from each other. Just move them around. It's organic movement. You can take them any which way that you can. And then as a great low back opener, I would suggest coming into Happy Baby. Now with Happy Baby, I want you to think about grounding your tailbone, your sacrum into the floor, as opposed to rolling and lifting your bum up and away from the ground. So start by just taking your knees towards your shoulders, okay? Practice leveling through your low back, through your tailbone. And if that feels okay, then we will come into Happy Baby. Now, Happy Baby, reaching for that pinky edge of your feet if you can. That helps to keep the ankles in a nice stack over the knees. Not wrong to yogi grip the big toes if that feels best. But imagine and really visualize as if you were in a deep squat. Okay, so ankles are wide, knees are wide. Try to press your low back down. We want as much surface area of our back connected to the ground as we can manage. Take one more breath. and then let your heels fall inwards and let your feet come to the ground. Beautiful, you guys. Great job. That is my favorite way just to get a quick little session for the low back in a different show or a different video here coming up. We're going to go through upper back, thoracic spine, shoulders, ways that we can stretch through our middle and our upper back. Good job. Namaste. Have a lovely day.